It tastes cinnamony.
I got hazelnut creamer. It's been a while since we had the
That had to be
hazelnut.
That's got to be it. That's got to be the thing. That's doing the thing. That's making the thing. That's got to be it.
Are you okay with hazelnut creamer?
Yeah, it just tasted, because of the nuttiness, I think, it was a little cinnamony. Stop all wallmongers. Yes. We need to expel the wallmongers. We need to finally do something about Migrant Cime. A reapy-doo-ah to you as well. I really have to work, like, pretty hard not to just say it, because to me, I've exchanged a reapy-doo-ah for Hakuna Matata, and it wasn't like I ran around saying Hakuna Matata all the time, but it's like you'll be talking to me, and I'll want to say something like, it is how it is, and instead, in my mind, will go like, just say a reapy-doo-ah. Now, what about buttered sausage? Good point. Can we talk about it? There are just some people, it's funny. Some people, when it comes to humor, they're really turned off by, like, repetitive, annoying humor.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. Like, for me, you can't run a joke into the ground. You can't beat the dead horse hard enough. Like, I want to laugh at something until every little micron of interest and fun is out of it. And just the fact that it's nonstop makes it hilarious to me. But there are certain people that are just like, man, shut up. Scotty's one of those.
I mean, he does it to TJ, too.
He does it, yeah. But when TJ and I are doing it and Scotty's not involved, he gets, like, you can just hear him.
Yeah.
He gets more and more pissed by the second. It's like on the Kane in a Suit stream back on the DP days. Me, Ben, and TJ were all vibing on the Kane in a Suit thing. And Scotty was just sitting there quietly for like an hour while we did it. And then finally he was just like, stop this fucking bullshit. It's not even funny. Fucking retarded. Stop it.
I feel like he's more amenable to it now than maybe he was in the past.
Well, he's joined in on the Kane Fabe. But I think he does it begrudgingly so that he doesn't have to be just sitting there listening to us do it. I don't know that he finds it very funny. But maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. He's done some long bits like that.
I used to drive my mom crazy with it.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to be, like, rude to your mom, but you can be unfunny.
Yeah.
You know, you can be annoying sometimes. And so I would take, you know, some stupid little joke and just run it into the fucking ground with her until she was mad at me for it.
My sister did that once with chicken butt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She just, like, got everybody in the house so fucking fucked up on chicken butt. Yeah. It's a certain type of humor. There's like a little bit of like troll obviously mixed into it. It's like humor at your expense instead of like, you know, the other way. Guess what? Chicken butt. Guess why? Chicken thigh. Guess when? Chicken hen.
She didn't even do the whole thing.
She didn't do the whole thing?
Just the chicken butt part.
Guess who bird flu? Chicken butt. Guess what? Chicken butt.
Probably because she had a chicken. That might have been why she got stuck on it for a while.
Yeah.
Dude, that was the meanest thing the teacher ever did, was like, who wants the chick we've been raising? Oh, here you go. Not gonna ask the parents or nothing.
Just sent kids home with, like, chickens.
Yeah.
I misspoke and called a seatbelt a seat bolt once when I was young, and then my sister tormented me for months, just responding to everything I said was seat bolt. Get wrecked. Yeah, that's me. Your sister and I are fucking simpatico. We'd get along. I can just tell from that little tiny story. We'd get along. We would chill. We would vibe. I do it to TJ all the time. I can't think of what the latest one has been, but it's a constant.
I feel like there were a couple recently.
There has been. It's constant.
Oh, it was like the Dune thing. Like he'd called it something else.
Oh,
you
yeah. Called it Muad Dib. He was like, I didn't say Muad. I was like, fucking Muad Dib, bro. You just don't listen to him. You don't let him correct the record. You just keep going. Oh, man, it is mean. It really is kind of a mean streak to my sense of humor, I think. But whatever.
He does have some weird pronunciations of some things.
Who, TJ?
Yeah.
Well, he's an autodidact.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing. You know, people read words and then assimilate them without ever hearing them spoken.
Mm-hmm.
It's so silly that it can't really be something to get mad about. Yeah, but people do, though. People just get, like, they reach a certain threshold where it's like, man, you've been talking about buttered sausage all fucking day, Paul Zico. Can we stop? Yeah, we can stop as soon as we talk about buttered sausage. Where it's from, what it is, who's doing it, who's making it. He says rum instead of room. Yeah, that is a weird one. I wonder what that is. That's got to be a touch of some kind of accent in TJ, but I don't know what it is. Like, oh, you know, me and Scotty were in the room together. And he'll just say it like that. And you're just like, rum? What pronunciation of room is rum? TJ says milty instead of melty. Did you just recently see the buttered sausage meme? I did, yes. I was unaware. I was uninitiated in buttered sausage until just a few days ago.
It's been more than a few days.
Amelia's sick of the buttered sausage too, I can tell. I can tell. She's had enough buttered sausage too. She's like, it's been longer than 2 days, Paul Zico. It's been at least a week that you've been nonstop buttering the sausage.
Oh boy, you got a big old thing in your mustache. Why you gotta ruin your mustache?
Said you think a draft is coming. When do you think it'll happen? I don't know. I just feel it in my bones. Like, military demonstrations have been nonstop here every day. It'll be interesting to see if during the hour or so that I'm doing this or whatever, if we get another one. But it's pretty much every day that I see a jet here, and that used to be way less, like maybe once a week, you know. They're just doing like routine training things or whatever, but they've been doing formation flights with multiple jets every day. Recruitment is at its lowest pace in modern history in terms of the current generation adopting, like, you know, hey, this is an option for my future. Let's go here and then I'll do college. But all these like wars and rumors of war are accelerating. You know, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, this is one of those I would love to be wrong about. But I think I think war is on the horizon.
Well, I think the issue with the draft is it makes a lot of people more involved in opposing the war.
That's why they haven't done it since Vietnam.
Yeah.
Because those protests jumped off not necessarily because of the massive amount of dead that were coming home from Vietnam, but because people were just getting lifted out of their families, out of their homes, out of their jobs,
And coming back
and coming back fucked up or dead in a pine box. You know, and that was just, people couldn't handle that.
Well, a massive amount of them were veterans of it
Yeah.
that were protesting it.
Yeah, yeah. The Vietnam War Veterans for Peace was an organization that was established back then that still actually exists. The thing is that generation, the generation of people that saw a family member, a young family member, get pulled out of the home and shipped off to Vietnam, maybe to die, they're old now. They're ancient. They're on their way out. And young people, they just don't have a connection to it anymore. And so I think that, you know, the government doesn't necessarily want to do it for no reason, but they will do it. They will do it. Faux show. Rainbow Family of Living Light, a peaceful protest organization and gathering event that was entirely founded by Vietnam veterans and their friends who became peace advocates after the war. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying like that everybody in the younger generations has forgotten like the legacy of the Vietnam War and the draft and all of that. But you know, it's just very few people are even aware of. Like when I talk to younger people, even people that are just super politically active, it's like when you bring up Vietnam, there's almost like a, you know, that little loading ... ellipse appears over their head. They're just like, I really don't know that a lot of people that are politically active today even understand the legacy of the Vietnam War and the protest movements that sprung up around it. Migrant Cime needs to stop. What do you know about conscientious objection? How does that play out? Jail time. For a lot of people it does, but it is one of the enumerated ways in which you can avoid the draft. It's just they make it as hard as absolutely possible. So it's a provision that was put in for people who have established religious exemptions, I guess, against taking part in warfare. So like Zen Buddhists.
Well, it's still a lot of times they'll make them serve.
No, they do.
Like
Yeah,
as medics or whatever.
Yeah, they'll make you, like, what they will do is say, okay, well, you have a conscientious objection to killing, so we won't give you a gun. You're just going to be a
But
medic,
you might still be on the field.
or a support driver or something. Yeah,
Yeah, just in as much danger.
you're still good. You're still probably going to go to a war zone. In the Vietnam War, a lot of conscientious objectors stayed here on purpose to go to jail for justice because they wanted, you know, the boost in media coverage from several people being sent to jail for refusing to pick up arms in the Vietnam conflict. So others escaped to Canada and Mexico. That was a common thing. Didn't work for most of them, though, because Canada and Mexico are close allies of the United States, and so they would extradite people out. But a lot of people went north or south and tried to claim asylum, wartime asylum in Canada. And it didn't work out for most of them.
Because they got involved too. Canada did, right?
Not in Vietnam.
Not in Vietnam.
Yeah, Canada did not commit any troops or anything to Vietnam. To their credit.
Well, that was something Muhammad Ali did, right? He
What?
went to jail for...
Muhammad Ali was the most famous conscientious objector, a Muslim who claimed religious exemption against fighting a war, and also brought up, the rank racist hypocrisy of sending black people who couldn't drink out of the same drinking fountains in a lot of cities to die for the country that hated them. Dad was almost drafted around my age, 25. Him and his friends got bottles of whiskey that night and celebrated because it was close. There was a certain system showing who got drafted. Yeah. Well, you have a draft lot number, basically, and that is given to you randomly, but it's pulled numeric order. So if you have a low draft number, it means you're going. If you have a high draft number, you have to sit around and hope they don't get to you.
Oh, fun fact, too. If you don't sign up for the registry for the draft...
Selective service.
As a man, you can't get student loans. You can't get government employment.
Yep. And they will forcibly enroll you as well.
Well, because I knew a guy that just didn't do it, and then he wanted to go back to college in his 40s, and they said that there was just no way that he could retroactively, conscientiously object.
Yeah.
Just missed his opportunity and could never get it again.
Hot take: females draft. Doubt it. I think that I oppose the draft as an idea. I don't think that anybody should be press ganged into fighting for their country. You
don't think hurting more people
No.
is worth it?
No, I don't think going, well, this isn't fair, and making it to where women are being taken out of their families and homes and lives and stuff too. I don't think that's a bonus. I do think that people would oppose it harder, and that's why they don't do it. The simple truth of the matter is that people see war and wartime as a man's job.
Well, also, too, if you're doing men and women, that means the distinct possibility that both parents would have to go and their kids just fucked.
Right, you would have to work in some sort of single parent objection or exemption where if one parent goes, the other has to stay home.
Yeah.
You'd have to kind of tweak the selective service to make sure people weren't leaving their children behind. It just isn't worth it. I don't think expanding the draft is the way to fight it. I think that,
mass
objection. Protest and mass objection and mass conscientious objection.
Because they can't jail everyone.
No, they can't. I mean, that's kind of how the Vietnam War protests worked. A lot of the people that were involved in those protests were people that had skipped the draft or had claimed conscientious objector status or had come home on shore leave from Vietnam and refused to return and been locked up for it. So yeah, those people were centerpieces in the Vietnam protest. But a lot of people forget too that the Vietnam protests and movement coincided with the civil rights movement here in the United States, and as such, it was just a great double-headed kind of axe. When you have this already mobilized group of people and a large protest movement, and your movement can become adjacent to it, and you get access to that motivation, it was just very smart for the leaders of the civil rights movement to append that movement onto the Vietnam War protest, and vice versa, honestly. Mm-hmm. It was smart for the Vietnam War anti-war people to append the movement to the civil rights movement.
Yeah, you can see that in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump visits the Black Panther Party and all of that shit, and is like kind of like accidentally thrown up on stage in front of
Yeah.
a million people to give a talk.
And they mute him.
Yep. I've always wondered what
What he
Forrest
said.
says. Yeah. Here's what I think about Vietnam, and then the saboteur like unplugs everything. You fascist son of a bitch! Oh, god damn it! He gives his whole speech, and then yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I wonder what he said, man. It's such a phenomenally ridiculous portrayal of the Black Panthers. I don't think it was. I don't think it necessarily was. Are you talking about the fact that one of them was abusive to Jenny? I don't think that. Yeah, I just don't think it was. I think it was a story. It was a connection, a piece of connective tissue in this weird historical jaunt.
Well, like, the whole point of Jenny is, like, she self-sabotages because of her abuse as a child.
Right. Jenny is, like a lot of people were,
Yeah.
there at the protest because she didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. She was lost.
She needed to believe in something, and she needed to feel like her life was something other than what it was. And that was true of a lot of people that participated in that protest. Not that they didn't care about the stated goals of the movement or whatever, but they were just lost.
They were seeking meaning.
Yeah, they were seeking meaning. They were seeking
Community.
community. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That's how a lot of people get sucked into cults. Those same desires.
cults and just general religious bullshit, political movements.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things to understand about cults is you really aren't safe. Like, if you get to that point where you really need something to center your life, you're vulnerable.
Yeah. You know, people like to look at cults, I think, a lot of times, and they see the people that are in them, and they're like, man, I could never be brainwashed like that into one of these organizations. But, you know, that's just ignoring, I think, the human condition. Everybody desperately needs community. We're a social animal. We need to feel like we belong. We need to have people that we feel like value us and our opinions. And we need to have a support structure. We need to have people we can talk to and empathize with
A sense of purpose.
emulate. Yeah. Every human being needs that. And those are the things that are maliciously fulfilled by these types of, you know, religious cults and political cults. You know, I think that the greatest example of this is Jim Jones and the People's Temple. Right? So
Because there was like a social justice element to it.
Oh my God, there was a socialistic element.
Yeah.
He was preaching socialism from the pulpit, and he was doing so in a way that de-incentivized the religion of it. You know, he would stand up in front of his congregation in San Francisco, and he would hold up the Bible. You know, and his congregation was a rainbow congregation, let's put it that way. Very heavily diverse. A lot of black people.
Probably gay people too.
Gay people, the whole nine. And he would hold that Bible up in front of them, and he would say, this book has held down black people for 400 years. For thousands of years in history. This book is meaningless. And he would throw that Bible and have it, you know, and everybody in the room, being a religious person, would go, oh, you know, and it would just be silent, and that Bible would smack the ground, and everybody would jump. And he would tell them, if you need a father, I'm your father. If you need a savior, I'm your savior. You need a Messiah? I'm your Messiah. If you need a Christ, I'm your Christ. Heaven is here. We make heaven on earth. Heaven isn't up there. Heaven is here. And he had a commune that, among other things, took very good care of its old people. You know, a lot of the people worked in order to provide for old people and sick people and handicapped people and children. And there was a communistic, socialistic bent to what he did. And that's what drew people in. People were looking for political meaning, and they joined an organization that, you know, visibly was that.
Like, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna show it works.
Right. There were a lot of civil rights protests going on in the 70s, and a lot of anti-police protests going on. And the People's Temple in San Francisco was known that if you had a fucking social justice cause, you get a hold of them, and in less than an hour, 400 people are there with signs. They could mobilize these protest movements and demonstrations in a way that other organizations couldn't. And you know, I haven't even talked about the abuse and the cult-like nature of this. That is what people were drawn to. They were drawn to this organization where this preacher, they have a song. And it's not a song that was written by Jim Jones, but it was appropriated by Jim Jones and was sung all the time. They had a wonderful choir, too. If you go and listen to the People's Temple choir, it's legit good. But they had a song called... Never heard a man speak like this man before. It's an old spiritual song about a preacher that comes into town and he does not talk like other preachers. And I just had to listen to what he had to say, and I had to follow him because I'd never heard a man speak like this man before. And they were talking, of course, about Jim Jones. Jim Jones dismantling the racist and classist nature of religion and religious organizations, and telling people this is about all of us and everybody else besides. This is about establishing peace and harmony and taking care of one another.
And the commune in Guyana was sold as like, we're seeking asylum away from America. From
right, and the reason they were seeking asylum, he was told they're trying to break up the church, they oppose us, we have to go. But it was really that his sexual abuse had come out in the newspapers, and people were starting to get wise to the fact that he made a cult, and so he bolted. And he took his true believers with him to Guyana.
But he sold it as like, we're escaping the oppression
right.
of the American government.
Yep. They just won't let us happen. They do not want a peace movement. They do not want a commune. They are going to destroy us. They will kill your families. They'll kill your babies. They will separate you from your families. They will jail your men, and they will rape your women. We have to go. And a lot of people were just primed because they'd been listening. They'd never heard a man speak like this man before. They were primed. And a lot of them went, and they all died. All but like 10 of them died that day. Fucking crazy, right?
His son lived.
Yep, his son. And a number of other people lived to tell the tale. Ran off into the jungle.
Or hid under the beds. I think that's one of them that survived.
Yep. Your cult episodes are some of your best, in my opinion. I'm fascinated by cults. Absolutely fascinated by the power dynamic of cults. Maybe for a slightly unhealthy reason, or in a slightly unhealthy way. I think that psychological manipulation that is possible when one knows how to pull the string on people is super fucking interesting. And it's a power that most people don't even realize. The ability to mass influence people, incredible power.
I think
Incredible
you might be
power.
drawn to it too because you've been in places in your life where you probably would have been vulnerable to that.
Maybe, yeah, maybe so. I don't think religion necessarily, but yeah, maybe an organization like the People's Temple that was nominally religious but mostly like a socialist. Yeah, maybe. If I didn't know about Scientology, I'd be like, oh, this is
early days or whatever.
This is an irreligious religion. This is more a life philosophy.
Like if you were opposed to therapy, like a lot of people were in that era. I forget. Did you say you went through one of the EM things, or No.
What, e-meter
Yeah.
thing? No, I've never gotten on the cans, as they call it.
Yeah.
But I have done what's called TRs with people
Mm-hmm.
that are also interested in it, training routines. So, if you and I were to do TROT0, it's the first training routine. You and I would sit across from each other, sitting up straight, with our hands in our laps, and we would stare right into each other's eyes without flinching. And it's about what they say, it's about confronting that person without verbally or physically interacting with them. But really, what it's about is making your brain shut off. When you stare into somebody's eyes deliberately for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you will start to feel weird.
Yeah.
People's faces start to do something. And it's a way of softening your mind to the indoctrination that's going to come. That's why it's OTTR0. That's why it's the first thing you do in Scientology. It's like almost self-hypnosis. It's teaching a form of self-hypnosis. A lot of people that join Scientology have their biggest, what they call in Scientology, win in those first days. There's a really interesting talk with an actor named Jason Begay. And if you look up Jason Begay, it's Beghe is his last name. You'll recognize him. You've seen him in movies. He's a character actor, and he was sucked into Scientology and then left it and gave an amazing interview where he talks about how he, a totally skeptical, independent thinking kind of guy, got sucked into this cult, and it's amazing. It's amazing. He talks about OTTR0. They had him come in, and because he was a TV and movie person, they greased the path for him, as he says, because that's what they do. If you're rich or famous, you get the best treatment in Scientology because they need you. And so they greased the path for him, and they gave him this big spiel. They took him to the what's called the Castle in LA, the Celebrity Center. It's called. It's a Scientology dissemination place that you can't get into unless you're rich and famous. Basically, it's the super Scientology for rich people. He gets brought into there. They give him this long 8-hour spiel where they tour and they talk. And at the end of it, he was like, well, fuck this. I didn't get to do any Scientology today. Everybody's selling me. I want to do some fucking Scientology. And they're like, okay, you can do OTTR0. They got somebody come in, sat, faced it. He did the confront and self-hypnotized. And he said he went, quote unquote, exterior, which is a super concept in Scientology, where your thetan, which is like your soul, it's like your meat body is not you. You are what's inside that soul. And your soul can leave that body and have an overview over a situation or travel somewhere else. And really what it is it's just deep self-hypnosis, right?
Disassociating.
You've disassociated. You've looked into somebody's eyes to the point where your brain is starting to release dopamine and endorphins, and your heart's beating fast, and you get this kind of hallucinatory state that when you come out of it, people that haven't experienced that before go, oh my God, this is real. And that's what happened to Jason Begay. He said he had what they call a major stable win that day. And they fluffed him about it, because when he sat there and did OTTR0 and went exterior and then came back, went exterior and then came back, people were like, that shouldn't have happened. You are a past life clear. You're a person who was born in the not born, but came of age and was probably a little older in the mid 40s when Hubbard was first doing Dianetics. You were one of the first students of Dianetics. You were an older person. That body died, and your thetan has attached itself to Jason Begay. You're a past life clear. And they puffed him up about how wonderful he was at Scientology, and they greased the path for him, and it sucked him in, and it sucked him dry. He was a dude, not a super popular actor, but a working actor, and he gave every bit of his money to the cult. And when he left, he got nothing, And this is not, like, if you watch this dude, he's not retarded. He's not a simpleton. He's a normal dude. This is an average dude, but if you listen to him, he was desperate for meaning. He was desperate to like know who he was. He felt like as an actor and as a performer his whole life that he'd been pretending to be other people, didn't know who he was. That was the hook that they got on him. Everybody experiences existential crises. Places like Scientology and Christianity, honestly, are there to pick up the pieces when people have that. You need meaning? Don't look into nihilism. Don't look into the fact that nothing truly has meaning and you have to self-ascribe meaning. Don't do that. We've got your meaning. We know what you need to be doing. It sucks in a lot of people. Does cult psychology fascinate you for the same reasons tarot cards do? Sure, yeah. I mean, like, tarot cards are not just tarot cards, right? They are a tool of psychological manipulation. So when I read somebody's tarot, I'm not at all concerned with the mythology of tarot, and I'm really not at all concerned with the rules of tarot. I sit across from that person and I have a conversation with them, and to them it just seems like a friendly getting to know you kind of, here, we're going to do this reading conversation. But really what I'm doing is I'm looking for signs of what that person wants. What does this person long for? You know, if I can get them to talk about their job, great. How do they feel about their work life? How do they, you know what I mean? Have a casual conversation that seems totally like getting to know you, but really every bit of information, every facial expression, every twitch of the body that they're giving you is letting you know what their buttons are. And once you know that this person has a general button on relationships, or this person hates their job, or this person feels alienated from their family and friends, once you know that, it's game over. The cards say whatever you want them to say. So it's less of a game and more of a psychological manipulation tactic.
What was that movie that kind of explored that, like, fortune telling?
Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. Interesting to Scott here. Did you get into this? I actually wouldn't mind a video about it. A little bit, yeah. We've been talking about it here. I have never done like an in-depth thing with tarot. I honestly wouldn't know how to do it. There are plenty of videos that you can watch where each tarot card will be explained, and they'll give you some ideas of the things that you can touch on if it comes up in the deck. But those are just like guidelines. You know, I use those sometimes, but not necessarily use them, like go back and watch them, because I've committed to memory what I can say about these cards and how I can interpret these cards. But when I was learning, you know, I had a tarot book when I was in my teens that had, you know, that same thing in it. And when I started learning it, that's what I learned. I learned based on the book. And then I kind of like, at some point, came to the realization that like, there's no rules in this. This is a big kind of like, can I get in your head game. I have seen The Master, yeah. And The Master is clearly about Scientology. He didn't say it was because he didn't want to get sued. But that movie, The Master, is about Scientology. They do the rooted in present time exercise that Scientology does, where they have you touch a wall and describe it, and then walk to the other side of the room and touch the wall and describe what you feel. And they have you do that back and forth so many times. Your brain is searching for a new descriptor every time that it's another self-hypnosis technique. You just get disassociated, and it becomes, the training routine becomes your world. And people do that for hours. They'll drill people for hours on that, just making their minds receptive. And there's a scene, of course, in The Master. There's a bunch of stuff in The Master, if you understand Scientology, that is directly analogous to Scientology. The fact that the Master guy is wanted for tax cheats and debts that he owes, and he spends a lot of time at sea.
Drugs.
manipulation,
stuff in the desert.
sexual manipulation. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how to share my interest with people, but I am fascinated by cults and super fascinated by the Church of Scientology. Super duper. I've just been looking into it for close to 15 years. I've been reading about it and watching videos and essays that are done by people that oppose the church. It's just really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Going Clear that HBO did, they needed an army of fucking lawyers to come over every fucking second of that documentary.
Yep. Yep. I have not read the book Going Clear. I have seen the HBO documentary that's structurally based on it. There's also another book that I read a while ago called A Long Piece of Blue Sky. It was an ex-Scientologist that wrote about his experience in Scientology. Have you read Diabetics? I've read Dianetics. Yes. That's how I got into Scientology. It was my dad, and this was very common. My dad's not a Scientologist. But when Dianetics came out, and for a long time afterwards, they pushed it as like, this is just a philosophy book. This is a book that'll teach you how to unlock your potential and teach you how to think about things. And a lot of my reading was just digging through my dad's, box of paperbacks that he had torn through and read a bunch of times, or read once and gotten rid of. And I was digging through one day and I found Dianetics and I read the whole thing, and it was very weird. And I felt very weird after it because the way that Hubbard writes is very intentionally unintuitive. And I looked into the Church of Scientology because before I'd read Dianetics, I thought Scientology was like the same thing as Christian Science. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was the same thing. I thought it was a Christian, because the symbol for Scientology is a cross. So, and then I learned what was going on. Oh, man. I done fucked up. Sorry. I get very, very nauseous in the morning sometimes. It sucks. Super nauseous. Oh, boy. Reverse mukbang. Yeah. There's nothing in there, so you don't gotta worry about that. It's empty. It's usually, I didn't have a protein shake or anything this morning, and I took my meds. And that's usually what I think does it, is that, like, you take... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's gross. Thank you, baby.
No. It's probably too... You want to not do a smoothie until you calm down with it.
Just let me let this ginger do its job. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to do that on the show. I know a lot of people don't like hearing people gag and stuff like that, but I couldn't move. Yeah, it just happens sometimes. You don't got to be worried. It's not like a big health problem or nothing. I'm okay. It just... Sometimes I get really fucking nauseous. And it's dry heave city for a minute. I got tears. That sucks. Yeah, sorry about that for anybody triggered by that type of noise or whatever. I know that's a gross noise. I'm fine. Like I said, it doesn't make me feel anything like other than just sick to my stomach, you know? Mm-hmm. It doesn't affect my mental state or my ability to speak or whatever. Yeah, I take a number of medications in the morning, every morning, and I think most of them have the take this with food for that very reason, but I just have such a hard time. Man, that ginger just knocks it out. Why does it do that?
Now, like you said, like the flavor is really strong.
It's a peppery thing. I don't know what. Does anybody in the chat know? Because I just ate a piece of candied ginger, and that like settled everything. Can you tell me why that is? Why does ginger like settle your stomach? Since COVID, I gag every time I brush my teeth. COVID.
I do that too.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit of salt at the very tip of your tongue before you do it, it knocks it out really good.
That's good. That's a good, because yeah, Amelia does struggle with that. She has a pretty strong gag reflex. So yeah, put a little salt on the tip of your tongue before you brush your teeth, and it'll help to knock out your gag reflex. That's actually a good tip. You should try it.
I just forget to do it because I don't like just having a salt shaker in the bathroom.
You should. You should just get you a little fucking salt shaker in there.
Well, like, if it gets humid, it, like, kind of clumps up.
Well, then just store it in the pantry.
Yeah.
And grab it when you go in. I'm going to try that right now. What the fuck? I've literally never brushed my teeth without gagging. Give it a shot. Ginger helps gut motility. Yeah, but it's like, it's not that though. It doesn't have time to do any gut motility. It's like when I put it in my mouth and I'm having those like dry heaves, kind of real nauseous feelings, it stops them. It's very weird.
So, this says that gingerols and shogols, two components found in ginger, work by blocking the actions of the neurotransmitters acetylcholine and serotonin in the body, which trigger involuntary stomach contractions and stimulate the vomiting reflex.
Wow. Neat. So they just kind of like balance out the
They shut your brain
signals
of causing the gagging off.
That's pretty interesting, actually. That's really interesting. That's cool. I did not know that. Cool.
And it regulates your blood pressure a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of calms you down.
Yeah, it does. It really does. The ginger basically empties the stomach. I see. My stomach's already empty. I guess maybe it pushes like the pills and the residue and the juice from that down. Mm-hmm. Ginger tastes like soap to me. Yeah, it is not a pleasant flavor for me. I'm not a big fan of it, but it works so well that I'll just have a piece.
We'll see if Toothpaste Guy comes back and it works for him.
Yep. Do you eat the ginger? Or do you keep it? I just ate it. You watched me. She gave me a little piece of candied ginger. Chew it up and swallow it. Let it sit in my mouth, though. I let it like melt in my mouth and really get the like that, because that flavor, for whatever reason, is what helps. At least that's how it feels.
Well, yeah, like you get if it's helped you before, the flavor alone will help because you
probably
associate.
Like psychosomatic.
Yeah.
Paul, do you know about the ginger and horses? No. Is it poison to them or something? That's what I would guess. Well, like horses get poisoned by ginger or whatever. Maybe not. It works.
With the salt.
Hey, there you go. Life tip from Amelia. Yeah, keep a little salt when you go to brush your teeth. No more gagging. Very nice. Poop, poop. I'll be right back. I'm gonna blow my nose and get a drink.
Well, you're welcome, passionate lobster. I'm glad it helps.
Okay, that's better. Sinuses temporarily empty. That's nice. Awfully cloudy today. Expecting rain? No, I don't think so.
It rained a little bit yesterday, but very briefly.
We'll see.
It says it's not supposed to, but our weatherman has not been very accurate lately.
Yeah. Oh, bleh. You guys gonna watch the State of the Union live? It'll almost be like a gauntlet. Oh my God, the State of the Union.
That might be a good, like, commentary to do this month.
Maybe. When is it though?
I think it's... Let's see. It's soon.
What day is it?
It is today.
Oh, man, it's not gonna happen. I just know it's not gonna happen. Oh, well, I mean, we could always watch it later.
Yeah, like you guys have it scheduled to do your
But
commentary
like
on
doing
Saturday.
a live reaction or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything today. Yeah, that's really the only reason why I'm interested to see it, because I want to see how mightily he struggles to get a decent fucking speech out. I want to see like how well the focus drugs work, you know, because they're pumping. He's on a cocktail of something, dude. They're pumping him like. There are times when Biden just looks straight out manic, and you can tell he's just on some sort of amphetamine or something. And there are times where it looks like he's on the opposite, like something that, like Seroquel or something that takes him down a little bit. Probably Adderall. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what do they give to old people when they're having like cognitive problems, you know?
I don't know. There's drugs that are more like tailored to that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are exactly.
But I think that he's on some stuff that maybe is not just for that. I think he's on some stuff that, in fact, I think that this is like a big thing that maybe will break someday, that like the use of pharmaceutical drugs by politicians. Yeah.
Like they should have an open fucking
I mean, I think that
repository of information.
it's one of those things that's kind of sticky, right?
Yeah,
because you've got medical privacy laws that are in place, but
they do the whole like physical and share that with everyone.
Yeah.
They seem to I feel like they have a duty, at least. I don't know if it's a legal duty or not, to like explain when they are sick and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't do it all the time,
No,
but
they don't.
like sometimes it's better to just answer than have people speculate.
True. True. There's a story from the Trump White House that they basically had a drug dealing situation going on. Handed over drugs like candy. Yeah, I mean, I remember the speculation about that because Trump is another one of those dudes that sometimes he'll come out and he's just like, and other times it's like he's sweaty and it's like he's shot out of a fucking cannon, you know? He's on some shit.
I mean, maybe it would be less sticky if they just didn't go into specifics, like just said stimulant rather than like the exact drug.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think that it's important that we know if somebody's chronically ill and making big decisions and shit. I think that that's an important thing to need to know.
Well, I guess I guess hiding it isn't that uncommon. Like Kennedy hid a lot of his shit.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not uncommon. That's
The
that's
reason
part of the
why
problem.
the Resolute desk is closed in the front is because of FDR
Yeah,
hiding his wheelchair.
yeah.
He had a little secret elevator.
Yeah. But, I mean, really, the way that we get around a lot of this is I think there needs to be an upper age limit for eligibility. This, like, 80-year-olds and 85-year-olds and living until they're 95 and being in the fucking Senate and shit is fucking not working, dude. I repeat, dude. It's not working. Look at the Dianne
I don't even know what
Feinstein
the
shit.
protocol would be if one of them died on the campaign trail after the convention already happened.
There would probably be an emergency convention, I would imagine. I mean, if they died pre-convention, then the Democratic convention would just be way more fraught because it would be nominating a replacement.
Yeah. Not based on votes.
Not based on votes, right? Because there's no way they could do a whole other primary. Mm-hmm. So the DNC is going to have to fucking.
But after the convention is where it gets really sticky.
That does get sticky. If one of them croaks post convention, there's going to have to be some kind of like special convention.
Well, with RFK, it was pre-convention, right? When RFK got assassinated.
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah, it was. It was near the convention. No, not JFK, RFK. His brother was running for president and was also assassinated.
I said, like, the fact that RFK Jr. is running, I feel like as much as I disagree with his conspiracy theories, I understand why he's a paranoid person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, he freaked the fuck out when he did that one interview and the power went out.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame him. I mean, imagine, like, two of your really direct family members were killed for their political opinions. Mm-hmm. And then you're a political figure, you know? Like, ugh.
And the government, like, covered it up on top of it.
Oh, are you doing all right there? Or is it just a camera angle? I don't know. I'm fine. Do I not look fine? Do I look bad?
You look okay.
I don't know.
You look like... Maybe someone's behind on the stream and, like, watching you gag.
Maybe. That's probably right. Maybe a tad bit red. Okay. I'm a tad bit red. Hey, Paul. Glad I caught you live for once. I'm a younger guy. I appreciate the yelling and talks about these blue collar. I'm in HVAC. A lot of these people against you don't even know what your position is. It's true.
There's definitely a game of telephone that happens.
Yes. And some of it is innocent misunderstanding, and some of it is intentional misrepresentation. And it can be very hard to tell the difference between the two sometimes.
Have you ever played like a proper game of telephone?
Mm-hmm. We played one with like 300 kids one time at our school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet that was...
It was nuts.
What did you hear? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I was somewhere in the middle of the pack, though, so I got something completely different, guaranteed. Do you like Jon Stewart? Yes. Do you think his Daily Show is just as good? I haven't seen all of them, but the one that I've seen and a little bit of another one, it seems like it's the same show. Like he's still got the charisma or whatever.
I don't know how much they paid him to get him back on that show, but it must have been a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't pretend to understand it, but oh.
No, Dad's not getting up. He's just stretching, D.
Oh. Ooh.
Tanner gets so excited every time you stretch, thinking you're gonna get up.
Oh, it's time. Time to go back inside and lay around and do nothing. Sorry not to derail the topic, but important question. Who's hotter between Prime Anakin versus Paul from Dune? Which Paul? The Kyle MacLachlan Paul or the Timothy Chalamet Paul? I guess they're talking about probably the most recent one. So what was the other one? Anakin from the prequels? Paul.
Do you consider Timothy Chalamet a twink?
Yeah. Yeah. He's twinkish.
Maybe a little too strong of a jawline for you?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily mind a strong jaw. It's more about, like, I don't know what it is. It's funny because, like, those tastes, those preferences or whatever have been things that I haven't explored for so long. I know what I'm attracted to, but I don't know how exactly to, like, couch it because it's not necessarily uniform.
But you also have a very restricted interest in men versus your interest in women.
Yeah. My interest in women is broad. No pun intended. And the men that I'm attracted to tend to be more effeminate. But one of those things. Beard or no beard? No beard. Not a beard guy.
You want your opposite, basically.
Yeah. Exactly. The question is, are the twinks into fat bears? Some of them are. Some of them are. So you find Bieber attractive? Yes. Always have. Imagine femboy Paul. You'd have to imagine me in a different body, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you're really structured, even if you did lose a bunch of weight, to be that.
Drag queen Paul, though, I think I would clean up nice as a drag queen.
Yeah.
I'd have to shave, but I think I'd clean
There's
up
plenty
nice.
of drag queens that have beards.
That's true. I guess I wouldn't have to. I'd want to.
Oh, did you see that Finster came out as like gender
Non-binary or whatever. Yeah. I mean, like to the surprise of no one, maybe. I know that they've been pretty coy on their streams about it.
Yeah. But at a certain point, like, you could tell it wasn't a joke anymore.
No. Yeah, nobody does like 6 years of cross-dressing as a meme.
Yeah. Not 6 years.
Oh,
They're
whatever
only
it is.
22 or something, I think. 23.
I know they've been doing it for years. Finster, it's like a femboy streamer.
Has long hair, did the nails up,
It was super pretty.
wearing like super like fan servicey outfits, like the thigh highs, and putting in fake tits.
Yep. Well, I mean, after watching the video, I guess some of those aren't fake.
Yeah. Now they're coming.
They've been on
more
HRT
natural,
for
but
a while.
they've definitely worn big fake tits before.
It's Finster with 2 N's. You can look it up. Finn actually
F1.
transitioned. No, did not transition. Came out and talked about the fact that it's no longer a meme for them and that they are non-binary or genderqueer or whatever it was.
They're exploring going deeper into that.
Yeah, and
there's
they're on
definitely
HRT.
some people that get HRT that aren't trans.
Yeah, for sure.
It's harder to get if you're not trans, but
Sure.
not impossible.
They're just nice to look at. The content is dull. Yeah, maybe. One of my friends wants me to be NB. Not sure why. I guess being cis is boring. Yeah, you may as well. May as well explore. It is your life.
I mean, TJ's NB.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's something that I've never felt like a drive to explore in myself. I'm pretty cis. I think I'm pretty comfortable, like, in my form. I do think that cross-dressing would be fun. Like, a drag queen kind of thing would be fun. I definitely would have fun doing it, but I don't necessarily think that it would, like, unlock some kind of desire in me. I mean, I've already kind of played with that a little bit. Like, in terms of wearing clothes that have, like, bright primary colors and stuff like that. But drag is way different from cross-dressing. Okay, sure. What do you think about polyamory? If that's your thing, go for it. I mean, I have personal feelings about it, but I don't like to use them to dissuade people from trying things out if that's what they want to do. I just, personally, I know it doesn't work for me. But if that's what you want to explore, do it. Like I said, it's your life. Let's get back to class issues. Okay, go ahead.
Start the discussion.
Yeah, man.
Don't just say class issues without.
It's fun as fuck, but not for everybody. Yeah, that's pretty true of all types of relationship arrangements.
I think it's one of those that, like, you have to tread more carefully because there's definitely people that exploit it.
Not only that, but there's an inherent instability to it, that I think, at the very least. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's just my experience with knowing people that are polyamorous or in poly relationships. They don't work, but that's, like I said, that's anecdotal. I don't apply it across people, and I definitely don't, like, use it to try and dissuade people from trying it out. But for me, I wouldn't do it for those reasons. I just think it's like, I think it's a rickety cart with a wobbly wheel, and eventually that wheel is going to pop off, and you're going to end up with a three-way fucking drama factory.
Well, there's a reason polygamy is illegal.
Right. Well, I guess, yeah. I don't think it should be.
Well, it's just complicated everything-wise. Like, how do you divorce in a polygamous relationship? Do you split it 3 ways or 4 ways or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, true.
Do you only count the assets since the latest marriage, or do you do all of the joint assets?
My experience, polyamory, open relationships usually means at least one person is left out in the cold, and I mean, that's kind of been my anecdotal experience with it as well. I feel like that eventually in those arrangements, 2 of the 3 people get too close for one of the people, and the other, as somebody starts feeling left out, like they're being kind of like slowly but surely removed from the relationship because these people are just together all the time.
Well, I think the biggest red flag is like trying to fix the relationship by opening it.
Yeah. I mean, that it's not a relationship fix. It needs to be a conscious choice, not an attempt.
And a collaborative choice.
Yeah, and not an attempt to make things better by nature of doing it. When the one person wants to cheat and the other person just lets them, and they call that poly. I mean, that technically is poly. It wouldn't be cheating if the other person has said they're okay with it. But yeah, I think that maybe a lot of times people get kind of strong-armed into those types of arrangements as well. Like, maybe they don't know. They want to try it out, and then once they do, they don't like it, but they don't want to say so because everybody else is liking it. It's just a tough situation, you know. One that you had to enter into, in my opinion, pretty carefully.
I mean, there's a number of relationships like that. Like, if you start dating your boss, that's obviously something you want to tread more carefully.
Oh God, I would never do it. But yeah. If I like was in a work situation and I like fell for a boss, I'd find another job. I just don't think that works. You can't be like 2 different social classes if you're in a relationship, at least in my opinion. You can't be like equals most of the day and then you show up at work and they're your boss. That's just, I don't know. Basically being a swinger. Swingers are different. Swingers are less about like opening their relationship in terms of having another person involved romantically, and they're more about just like, am I right about that? They're more about just like
just want to
trade. Fuck. Yeah. They're just like, oh, my wife can go fuck you and I'll fuck your wife. It's just like, that's different to me. That's like people that don't have necessarily the same kind of jealousy and sexual hang-ups or whatever. And that same kind of like drive for monogamy to like keep their sex life spicy or whatever. To me, that's different. Although it probably does end a lot of relationships. Somebody, goes to do a fling with somebody and they end up finding that they're compatible with that person in multiple ways. And all of a sudden it's like, now they're in a little secret relationship with that person. But, I mean, that's true of normal monogamous relationships as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is communication, collaborative decision making, setting boundaries, shit like that.
Poly relationships are a bad deal. I mean, look at Destiny. I mean, Destiny is definitely one of my anecdotal examples, but he's a bad one, honestly.
He was a dumbass about it.
I mean, he's a complete dumbass about it. I mean, the idea of having one of those relationships is fine, but the idea of making the inner workings of those relationships and the people that are tertiarily involved in those relationships part of your content is like, I haven't been able to watch Destiny since I popped on one of his videos while I was gaming, and the video was him in the wake of his huge breakup with his poly wife, giving advice to his young male fans about how to navigate relationships. And I was like, okay, I can't. The hypocrisy is too deep at this point. You know what I mean? That would be like me starting a ideology, right? And going like, guys, today we're going to talk about how to stay fit. We're going to talk about fitness. Fitness, fitness. I'm going to tell you how I keep this fucking physique. You know what I mean? Like, how would I be a person that you would go to for that? And how is Destiny a person to go to for how to, like, healthily navigate a relationship?
Maybe how to navigate a breakup.
Not even that. The breakup was horrible. He dropped DMs and shit. Paul round as a ball. And it's like prior to his relationship breaking up, so let's say that like we go back 6 months or a year in Destiny's timeline, his whole channel was nothing but drama about a chick that he brought on the show that he then got into a poly sex thing with. Then she accused him of coercion and like trading airtime on his show for sex. The dude can't, like, he literally, like, the number one rule that you learn as an adult when it comes to relationships is you do not shit where you eat, period. If you're going to give any kind of advice to young people about how to navigate relationships, you need to be a person that adheres to you do not shit where you eat. And Destiny shits where he eats, and then wants to do a whole fucking hour-long video where he's talking to young men about how to navigate relationship problems. I can't. That's just, that's too fucking wild. Coming from him, it's too fucking wild.
Like that wind deep.
Is Destiny blue MAGA? Yes. Destiny is blue MAGA. Destiny is a pretty prototypical lib. He owns it. He's a moderate liberal who supports, capitalism and American foreign aggression and American hegemony and American unipolarity, American exceptionalism, a punitive safety net, the whole nine. The guy is basically just a conservative with some left-wing social opinions. Is he pro-Israel? Yes. He has been a very vociferous proponent of Israel and what it's doing. I don't think Hassan belongs on that list. Shitlib, Gauntlet, Destiny, Vosh, Hassan. I don't think Hassan necessarily belongs on that list. I'm not super familiar with Hassan, but he seems to be pretty critical of the Biden administration and pretty critical of the libs and pretty critical of America's foreign policy and stuff. Like I said, I don't watch the guy, so maybe I'm incorrect on that assessment, but I wouldn't put him on a list of like turbo libs or whatever. I think he's a genuine leftist. No, you may disagree with me on that. No true leftist.
I think there's parallels between leftist infighting and like vegans being mad at vegetarians.
Yes, there is. It's the same. It's the same energy.
Yeah.
It's a comment on one of my ideologies. You know, when I was talking about my choice to not eat meat, and you know, it not being a philosophical choice, just like a personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a comment that was like, because I talked about how I eat fish and chickens, and he was like, "Oh," his comment was like, "Oh, that's good. So you traded torturing cows for torturing chickens and fish."
I mean, chicken's not even one of them.
Well, eggs is
Oh,
what he was talking about, because they're exploited for their eggs.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know, like I would feel so exploited if someone wanted my tampons.
Yeah,
Because that's what it is.
it is. Hassan is a rich kid. Yes, he is. I don't think being wealthy necessarily like makes you incapable of being a decent leftist. I don't gatekeep in that way.
But
I
I
mean,
think
look
it
at-
puts you out of touch of certain struggles.
It does. It doesn't make you necessarily the best person to take up blue collar struggles. Unless you have spent time learning and working with those people in an activist way. So is TJ. Well, TJ's about half of his childhood, he was really wealthy. And then the back half of it, through his teens, he was very poor.
And he had to, you know, pull himself up by the bootstraps
Yep.
or whatever after he became
What
an
little
adult.
there was left of his dad's empire after he went to jail and all his assets were seized ran out very quickly for TJ and his family. So TJ's had a taste of poverty. What TJ hasn't had a taste of is blue collar work. Because TJ went his own way. He decided, I'm going to create my own thing and that's going to be my work. There's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people go that route. There's a lot of really hardworking middle class people who decided, I don't want to go work at the fucking burger place. I want to open my own burger place. And did. Took out a business loan, made it work. You know, worked long enough to save up the down payment and then got it done. And there's a lot of people like that don't have a whole lot of experience with like blue collar work, 9-to-5 work, but they do have experience of poverty. And that's where I feel like TJ and Scotty are. You know, they're guys that decided to go their own way and created their own kind of business model and lived on that rather than doing menial jobs.
Yeah, that was such a weird criticism from Destiny of you guys, where he did that thing of like, oh, look at how rich these guys are, thinking that whole Patreon was just going to TJ.
Yeah, not only that, but like, he's one to talk.
Yeah.
Destiny's literally a multi-millionaire. I mean, the dude founded the whole .gg thing. He consulted and was basically the creator of how streamers protect themselves from DDoS. Like, Destiny invented that. He invented the, like, taking one of these Amazon servers and routing all your traffic through it in order to latch onto their Cloudflare DDoS protection without having to apply it yourself. And Destiny was blue collar, yeah. Destiny worked normal jobs. He's a college dropout, worked at casinos. I think he was like a cook at a casino for a long time. And like a floor manager at a casino. And I know he's done other stuff as well. So yeah, the guy knows, like, he's blue collar, at least in origin. But for him to like do some kind of call out and look at our Patreon, which he probably makes per stream, and call us rich and out of touch is fucking hilarious. Like, that dude probably rakes in sometimes once the chips are down, like 15, 20 grand on a week's worth of streaming. And that's what we're bringing home, you know.
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months, yeah.
That was only at the heyday.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't been in the heyday.
Mm-mm. The heyday is gone.
You could make another heyday, guys, though.
You could help us have another heyday, but right now, you know, it ain't now. That's what I make in a year, right? Yeah, he's not splitting it 3 ways. He's not employing other people as we do. Well, I guess he is. He does employ people, so that's true. He's actually pretty based with his. He's got like a profit sharing thing. Mm-hmm. So his editor makes a lot of money because his videos make a lot of money. So that's actually kind of based. I don't want to be uncharitable to Destiny, to use a Destinyism. He does have like a co-op thing on his channel, which is neat. But yeah, I mean, I'll still watch the dude. I'm just taking a little break.
It'll be settled in a couple months tops.
It already is.
Yeah.
I just don't want to catch the back end of it. I can't hear it again. And you take those hits like a champ? Really? These are not... As long as you're not, like, taking, like, a 15-second pull on these, you shouldn't really be coughing super hard. Sometimes I'll take a little stiffer of a pull than I want, but these little puffs I'm taking, that's how you're supposed to do that. When did Destiny call you guys out? It was years ago. I can't remember what it was over either. Do you?
I don't know. I think he just decided to do it randomly out of nowhere.
I think we were covering something that he was involved in.
Yeah.
And somebody brought it up in his chat, and he doesn't know me at all, or Scotty. He just knows TJ.
So he just looked it up and like, oh, look at this.
Look how much money TJ's making, you know, and it's like, you know, yeah, TJ and 2 other dudes and their families and their employees, but whatever, you know.
And Patreon getting a big old cut. I don't even think he has a Patreon. He didn't even understand how big of a cut they take.
Yeah, no. He doesn't have a Patreon, I don't think. Maybe he does. But
if he does, it's not like a priority for him. It's not like his main.
I mean, he gets tens of thousands of people watching his stream. The donos are crazy on it. They never stop.
So he probably doesn't even pay attention to what Patreon's cut is if he has
He doesn't even pay attention to the donos.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I hate to say it to you guys. That's one thing about his content that I envy. Is that he never got drawn into the I'm going to let chat disrupt the flow of things.
I mean, you don't do it all the time.
No, we don't. We don't. It's actually gotten way better. Back on DP, when we used to have the "now we're gonna read super chat" segment, I would just be like, "Oh, here we fucking go. Here comes an hour of unwatchable bullshit," and it really usually was. It's like, "What do you think about Glanderson Booper?" And we're just like, "All right, we gotta field this." I think it's a meme that we came up with like 8 months ago that we haven't said in 8 months. And then we even had those like Patreon call-in segments.
Oh, yeah. You're never gonna do that again.
Never again will I do that. Never. That was such a fucking mistake because it was just dead air. You know, you would have people come on that they would either sit there quietly like they weren't even there, and when they did like pop in with a quip or something, it was just complete, like people, I remember doing shows where I just forgot there was another person in the room. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden they'd talk.
And they'd probably talk not knowing how to talk into a mic,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, it would be, the mic quality would be ass. They were using a cell phone and they're out in the wind or some shit and you can barely hear them. And when you do hear them, it's just nonsense. It was awful. I mean, every once in a blue moon, it was like JF Garapi. That's how he got his break. A lot of people don't know that. He was a patron of ours and he paid for the "let me come on the show" perk. And he ended up being really good, you know, at that time before he revealed his power level or whatever. He was a fun guest.
His white power level.
Yeah, his white power level, yeah.
My goodness, you just want all the nap time today.
Yep. And we made hay with some of them. Egghead was the same way.
Yeah.
Egghead was a character on the show, a little meme on the show that we discovered because he paid for the Patreon thing. And it was, you know, like, it was actually a pretty good deal for people that wanted to be content creators. Mm-hmm. You know, we'll let you come and riff with us for an hour. I mean, you would think people would take it more seriously, but people would just show up and not have any intention of talking, not know what they were talking about, completely unlistenable because their mic was fucked up. It was just echoing and shit.
Yeah, like having your stream open while they're...
Yep. He was just a shitty punchline. I think we made a lot of hay out of the Egghead arc. I think it was fun. If you really think about it, there was a lot of fun had during the Egghead days.
Then everyone else wanted to be the next Egghead.
Yeah.
And they weren't.
Yeah. Nobody was. I mean, Egghead was everything that they were, but in a very entertaining way.
Yeah.
The fact he was awkward and weird and a little tistic and a total loser. You know what I mean? And it just worked. But yeah, Egghead is a dude that, like, you know, looking back on it in retrospect, he's a guy that I would look at and if I had no personal experience with the guy, I would go like, maybe we went a little hard on Egghead. Maybe we were a little mean to Egghead. Maybe we went a little too much with Egghead. But I got no sympathy for fucking Egghead, bro. That motherfucker, dude, he revealed his true nature to me. Because I gave him a deal that I don't think anybody in the history of fucking podcasting has ever gotten. He lived a couple hours away from me in Texas. And I got with him because he was like, I want to go to the meetup, but I'm broke. And I was like, here we go, dude. Here we go, Egghead. I got a hold of him offline in the background, DM'd him on Twitter or whatever it was. And I was like, hey, dude. I was like, look, I've got a parking lot here at my apartment complex. They don't check plates or whatever, so you can drive to us, leave your car here, and then you can ride with me and Ashley as we drive to New Orleans from San Antonio. And you can stay with us. We'll just we'll put you on the couch or something. And he was like, oh yeah, man, I might do that. And then like the next day or 2 days after that, so I thought for a couple of days there, like, yeah, Egghead. And I didn't do it as like a bit for the show. I didn't even tell anybody I was doing it. It wasn't like so I could look nice or do a nice thing in front of people. I did it because I liked Egghead. I thought we were kind of mean to him sometimes. I felt bad, and I knew he was a big fan, and he wanted to come, and he was right there. And so like 2 days after that, he does a stream, and it's a fundraiser stream. And he's like, I'm raising money for a plane ticket and a hotel room in New Orleans. And our fans actually splashed out for him. They didn't know, the fans didn't know that I had offered to take care of his hotel and his transportation. All he needed was a few bucks to eat. Because I wasn't trying to pay for all his drinks and food. But, you know, if you need a place to stay, I got you. You need a ride there and back, I got you. Place to park your car, I got you. And this motherfucker went 2 days later, scammed our audience. They gave him hundreds of bucks. Dude flew first class. I drove Ashley's broke down jalopy through a fucking rainstorm and almost died to get there. And I was on the show. This motherfucker flew first class, stayed in a nice ass hotel room, and then only hung out at the meetup for like an hour and a half. And then he was like, well, guys, I'm going to go because I got a flight tomorrow, and just left. All on the dime of our fans. I didn't come to our fans. I was broke. People don't know. When I first started, when I was in Texas on DP, I was making dog shit. Dog shit. Barely enough. I didn't have the money to go to this thing. I had to dip into my fucking dwindling savings for the gas money and the food while we were there. And this motherfucker financed it off the backs of my fans. When he had an offer for me, the guy that he's supposedly a fan of. So after that, dude, zero sympathy for that motherfucker. He's a user and an abuser, okay? Then you still defended him tooth and nail to Galen. I did. That guy's just, you know what, dude? Fuck Egghead. He just wanted a free vacation, yeah. And he got it off the backs of my fans, and I didn't grift my fans for it. I probably could have had a reason, like, hey guys, I don't make a lot on Drunken Peasants, and I know you want to see me at the NOLA meetup. Please donate to my GoFundMe. And I don't think it would have been out of fucking place to do it. I just don't do that. I don't think that you, the people that watch me, need to fund my personal fucking business.
Yeah, it's like you could have done a fundraiser for the PC you got.
Yeah,
You didn't.
I could have done that. I could have done that to you guys. I just recently bought a PC that's a couple grand, a little more. Not very nice PC for my job. I could have come to you guys and been like, hey guys, you may have noticed on the show that my videos are choppy. That's because my motherboard is dying. I need a new PCs. So if you guys want to donate, here's a GoFundMe. I could have done that to you fucking guys. I didn't. I bought it myself. I saved my money and I bought it. Okay? I got principles when it comes to that shit. You guys already financed my life. I don't need to cash in on you twice, 3 times, 4 times. I could come to you with my hat in my hand. It wouldn't be like out of the normal for people that do my job. I could do that all the fucking time with you guys. I could do that on these streams. I could put a Streamlabs on this and be like, hey, if you want more ideology. I don't do that shit. We've got a monetization thing. We take donos on our fucking main show.
You guys are honest about it. You're like, give us money because we like money.
And you get something for it. You want the longer show? You want to hear us talk about a certain thing that we don't really care to talk about? Pony up. But this like, oh, I've got something going on in my personal life and I need money. I just can't. Dude, I wouldn't even go to my parents and ask them to borrow money. I wouldn't go to my sister, who's pretty well off, and brother-in-law, and ask them for money. Why would I come to you guys with my hat in my hand? Like, I'm fine selling you guys things, selling you content. We got a Patreon. You want more of me? Go there, you know? Selling you tickets to an event because, hey, you want to come and meet us and have fun and hang out, smoke a bowl? We got to pay for the venue, so help us out. You know, you're getting something for your money. I want the graphics card I got. I'm trying to remember it. It's something, it's 16 gigabytes. It's a TI. I think it's a 40 something super TI. It's a really good graphics card. I'm not up to date on all the parts. I had people on the Discord help me. Because I've kind of gotten out of it, but it's a really nice graphic. It's not like the bleeding edge, but it's gonna play anything I throw at it at max res. And I got a really nice monitor too. I splashed out on an OLED 27-inch OLED monitor for my main monitor. You know, so that's gonna be dope. You know, really dope. 4080, yeah, it might be a 4080 Ti Super 16 gigabyte card, yeah.
But that's an investment, and you do all your work from your computer.
Yeah.
And it's a long-term investment. You want to future-proof it.
Yeah, and then my processor is an i7 14700K or something like that. It's a nice processor. It's an i7 14700K, I believe, is the processor I ended up with. 4080 Ti Super 16 is awesome. Don't smoke around it. Yeah, I'm planning on not smoking in that room anymore after I get that set up. Mostly because it's just kind of turned into a den of iniquity in there a little bit. It's like it's a little bit dirty. It's ashy, and it needs to be clean. And when I get this nice new setup, I want to clean everything up and make that more of a workspace kind of place. I don't know how well I'll keep it clean, but it needs a good tear down and deep clean, Why would smoke hurt your graphics card? They pull a lot of air. And so you're putting carbon smoke into the intakes of your computer through the fans. It's not good. I mean, it's not going to like destroy your fucking PC if you're just smoking a cigarette every once in a while around it, but it's better to not do it.
Do you think that contributed to your motherboard at all? It's just old.
It was just old, and it had been on a lot of trips, bouncing around in trucks and shit, and those RAM dims probably. As much as I tried to cushion it, I think that's what happened. Is like just the fucking long ass trips we've taken with it, and just time.
You've been working it.
Yeah, that's not good. I smoke weed around mine. Yeah, I mean it's like honestly, if you're not like hotboxing the room, you're probably not gonna. But you do need to clean your PC if you're going to smoke around it.
Because, cigarette smoking leaves,
It leaves a residue. And, it builds up on the board and all that. You need to, get your can of air and wipe down very carefully the areas that you can. You got me paranoid. Yeah. And just give it a good fucking dusting. Blow it out with air. Blow out your board. While you're doing it, you may as well do it to your fucking keyboard too. I need that so bad. My keyboard is fucking...
Do we need more canned air? Do we not have any?
What I need to do with the keyboard, and what I probably will do, is pull every fucking key off of it and wash the whole fucking thing. Because it's got crumbs in it. It's... Like I said, my workspace in there is turned into a bit of a den of iniquity.
But you were also in a den of depression for a while.
Oh my God.
I think that's why it went the way it did.
Yes, it did. I don't like making excuses, though. It's pretty gross, but yeah. I've been pretty bad off for a few years and turned it into a depression hovel. Will Mike Tyson be the old man who finally puts a stop to Jake Paul? I don't know. I don't care, bro.
The whole fucking streamer boxing thing, I don't get it.
I don't either. Depression moles, let's go. Yeah, dude. You know what I'm talking about, those of you that struggle. Depression and anxiety, you create a little hovel for yourself. You don't even want to take care of yourself, let alone your environment. It actually becomes comforting that it's so filthy and disgusting because you don't have to care anymore. You know how it is. You know the feels. And then people just say I'm lazy and disgusting. Yeah, I mean, people are mean, And that's something to think about, too, is like, I don't know how I want to put this. A person's environment and how they keep it is often indicative of the order in their mind. I don't want to get all Jordan Peterson with you and tell you to clean your room and stuff, but it is very common for people that struggle with depressive disorders to live bad, and it comes from a place of just not caring about themselves at all. Most of the time, those people would never let somebody that was dependent on them live that way. They would never let if I went over to my mom's house and she had a room that looked like, my fucking office does, covered in cigarette ashes and neglect, I wouldn't let her live that way. I would step in. I would, and so it just comes from a lack of self-care.
Yeah. Like, when I was untreated, like, I was a straight up hoarder in my mom's house.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen. It'll happen.
My mom probably should have put her foot down with me more about cleaning my room, but
Yeah.
it was a whole full-on hoarding situation in there.
Yeah. And it also takes the form of drug abuse and overeating. Absolutely. I mean, I've had both of those, right?
Yeah, like if you look at like the 600-pound life thing, it's hard to find someone on there that hasn't gone through something.
Oh my God, all of them are mentally ill as fuck. Yeah. And compensating, traumatized for, PTSD and sex abuse and physical abuse. And, it's part of being an empathetic human being to not make those snap judgments about people, and I'm bad at that. I really am. I'll make fun of fat people when I see them, and I'm a big fatty too. So I think a lot of times it's good natured, but I don't often think about what is behind a lot of the idiosyncrasies that you make fun of in a person.
I think it's hard just when you do like react content. You don't want to. It's gonna be kind of boring to just do nuance about everything.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes it just doesn't, like, a situation doesn't necessarily deserve it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people, even if there's mental illness at the root of it, are just being stupid and selfish, and it's okay to call out that kind of behavior and make it socially unacceptable, because, I'm a big guy, like, I don't like using my mental illness as an excuse for my personal failings, even if it does feed some of that. Ultimately, I'm responsible for what I say and what I do. And I think that mentally ill people should always do their level-headed best, at the very least, to hold themselves to that standard. Just because you're ill doesn't mean the people around you have to suffer for it,
Dino, why don't you just stay on my lap rather than hopping up and down every 2 minutes?
That always blew my mind, the fact that you call Boogie fat, but at the same time you're fat, and I'll be like, don't you look in the mirror? I mean...
You're not Boogie fat, though.
I'm not. And like, it's almost like a gay guy making fun of a gay guy for being so gay. You know what I mean? It's like, because I'm fat, I can critique other fat people. And Boogie could definitely do the same to me. Boogie could do a whole stream if he wanted and look at how weird and lumpy I am, And
but you also, like, he was showing off his body. That's different.
Intentionally, yeah.
Yeah. He did it to be made fun of. He wanted people like you to make content reacting.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, no, I was just throwing this out.
Gotcha. You also never rode around in a scooter? Oh, man, I've thought about it, though. Last time I went to Disneyland, and I was in better shape than I am now, but about halfway through that day, because I was with two younger people in their 20s that were in reasonably good shape. A lot of vim and vigor, and I did not... I was not. Halfway through that day, I was dying. My back, my knees, my feet. And I was like, man, I genuinely thought about it, because you can go rent a wheelchair. I was like, let's make these fucking youngsters push my ass around, man. Let's get in the candy-capped line, bro. Let's go rent a mobility scooter. Fuck this shit. I didn't. I toughed it out, but man, I will not lie to you. I thought about it. I heavily considered.
Yeah, I felt so bad that, like, my grandma's 80th birthday gift was going to Universal, but they made her walk around with her fucking bad knees all fucking day. She was done.
Why didn't they get her a scooter?
She didn't want one.
Yeah,
she's someone that still works in her 80s, even though she knows she doesn't need to.
Yeah, it's the same reason I didn't do it. Yeah. I had, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I had one experience at Disneyland where I had to be in a wheelchair. I had plantar fasciitis, and I'd rolled my ankle because of it, and I'd torn a ligament in my ankle, and I couldn't walk on my foot, and my family had scheduled a Disneyland trip, and so we rented a wheelchair. I had crutches, and we rented a wheelchair when we got there, and you get to go in the exit of every ride. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess some of them now have like fast track
Yeah.
lines, but back then you went, instead of going in where everybody else went in, you rolled up the ramp to the exit and you just went right on every ride. It was fucking crazy. No line. You and your whole family just
I
walk
think now
in.
there's just too many people to do that.
They still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still do it. If you're in a wheelchair there, you have a fast track line. They still do it.
You need anything else out here, baby?
No, I'm fine. I'm gonna wrap this up here in a minute, probably. Oh, I think I've had enough. Are you gonna watch the State of the Union? Probably not live, honestly. I don't really do a whole lot of politicking and stuff on my days off, and today is a day when I don't have anything show wise that I have to do. The only thing I had on my agenda was this. I wanted to bang out a ideology today, just for the vocal warm up and keeping my vocal cords tight and keeping my mind tight. About Kyle on Monday, gonna be dope, right? Been a long time. Oh, not super long, I guess. I would talk to Kyle last year on his show, and we had a really good combo. I really love Kyle. He's pretty much the only like political streamer dude that I even watch anymore with any regularity for the politics. I really enjoy him, and he's a funny, fast, quick-witted, intelligent, knowledgeable guy. I'm looking forward to picking his brain on electoralism and really want to talk to him a little bit about no confidence and the uncommitted movement and what he thinks about that in terms of putting pressure, electoral pressure on the Dems. I just want to pick his brain about the upcoming election, how he thinks it's shaken out, Israel, Palestine, and how he thinks that's going to shake out. There's just a lot of stuff I want to. I do want to pick his brain on Ukraine as well. I want to see where he stands on that. There's just a lot of stuff I want to pick Kyle's brain on. So it's just a built-in good show, in my opinion, because I just named off 5 things. There's probably 5 more that I really want to talk to Kyle about. The hair, though? What? What's wrong with it? What did I do? Kyle's definitely become more of a lib. I don't think so, but I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll think so after we talk. Not you, his. Oh, the blonde hair. Got you. I like it. I like the Kyle Shady look. Kyle Shady, brain dead like Jan Brady. I'm a M80, like that little Kim lady. Dirty Dozen, disastrous, dirty rotten rhymer. Cursing at you players worse than Marty Schottenheimer. Kyle's style is stuck in 2001, and I'm here for it. That's a good Eminem line, yes. You wouldn't sell 2 copies if you pressed a double album. Met a retarded kid named Greg with a wooden leg. Snatched it off, beat him over the head with the peg. Go to bed with the keg. Wake up with the 40. Mix it with Alka-Seltzer and Formula 44D. Old Eminem was pretty dope, dude. Kyle needs earrings, both ear. He has earrings, right? Doesn't he? I think Eminem is one of the greatest rappers of all time, just simply because he completely reinvented his style and actually came out. He found something else to do. He became less of a freestyle artist and more, I mean, he could still freestyle, but he became a technical rapper. And you listen to him talk about it, he basically had to learn to rap again because he was so dependent on opioids and other drugs to limber up his mind. And so he couldn't rap the same way that he used to. And so he learned another way of rapping that was more technical. And I don't like it necessarily as much as old Eminem, but it's pretty fucking awesome. Started watching Kyle in 2012, and me and my friends called him the hoop earring guy. Yeah. Real creative nickname you and your friends came up with there. I can tell you're a bunch of thinkers. Eminem is good, but Skittle is better. Okay. I mean, you're a candy aficionado. I get it. I see what you did there. Eminem is closeted? Do you think so? Anyway, I think I'm done. I'm going to end this. Thanks, guys, for chilling. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.